Hello and welcome back to TMP Garage. We're back on the Civic. We're going to replace the clutch in it because it has a 6-puck racing clutch in it, which is not very fun to drive as a daily. So we're going to put another clutch I bought off of Facebook Marketplace for only $40. Very lightly used, but I don't want to be cheap. And it looks like it has plenty of life left on it. I'll show you here in a minute. But let's get started. All right, so we got the clutch here. Used clutch, but it should be good enough for the girls we date, as Vice Grip Garage would say. Got plenty of life left on it. This throwout bearing still feels really good as well, so should be good enough to get by. So we're gonna go ahead and get the transmission out. We've already went ahead and took the suspension apart, took out the CV axles. They're removed from the engine if you look up under here. And we got to get the shift bars out, or what do you call them? Linkage. And we got to get the exhaust manifold out of the way. No, we don't actually. We don't have to get the exhaust manifold out of the way. Change my mind. Got to take off the shroud, take off the mount. It's really not that hard, surprisingly enough, to remove a transmission out of a 90s Honda, so especially when you have a lift. All right, so I removed the shifter, this part, which is hanging here. And then I removed the bolt back here. And whenever we remove the transmission, it comes down, it's gonna come out. I don't wanna really take off the exhaust if I don't have to, and I would have to in order to get that out normally. So we'll just have to be careful when we put it back in that we line that bar up and so it goes back into place. Next thing is to take off the clutch fork, or not clutch fork, but slave cylinder, and then start unbolting bell housing and also the engine mount. So fun times. Progress has been made, guys. We got some engine mounts off, 2 bolts over there. This whole engine mount is removed right here, and a couple of the bell housing bolts out that are easily accessible from down below. So I think we're going to move up to the top and lower the engine down, or the car down, I mean to say, and then we'll work from the top. So let's go ahead and lower the car down, and we'll see if we can get started on the top. All right, we're unplugging the speedo sensor, and we think we got everything removed from the engine in terms of bolts and things. So theoretically, if all goes well, it should slide out, but we'll see here in a second. We might need to wire that starter up, just like up out of the way with some mechanics wire, but yeah, we got to get the speedo cable out, sensor out. Oh, it can just sit back there, actually. Nice.
I already did the VSS.
Okay, well, I think that might be all there is to it, I believe.
I think
so. So we can lower the jack and wiggle it. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Exciting. Hey guys, we got the transmission removed, as you can see, not attached to the engine anymore. And we've got the clutch and pressure plate off. As you can see, it's right over here. And it is a 6-puck clutch, which is for racing only, not for daily driving, because it makes it a big pain to drive because it's very grabby, extremely grabby. And yeah, it's not very comfortable when you're just trying to drive it, especially in stop and go traffic. So this is a standard looking clutch. That's not so standard. So we're not using that. We might use that in maybe a race D series at some point, but for now, we're just gonna use stock style. So we're actually going to use the new pressure plate from the new clutch instead of the old pressure plate, because as you can see, there's a bunch of hot spots on this pressure plate, and hot spots aren't too good. That just means that it's a hardened spot, so it doesn't grab as well, and so you wear unevenly. I believe that's it. And so we're just going to use the new one because it's perfectly compatible. And we're also going to use the new throwout bearing because I don't want to take the old one out. It's a lot easier. And in order to align everything, I 3D printed an alignment tool because the clutch kit I got, used, obviously, doesn't have a flywheel alignment tool. So we got one 3D printed, one of the useful things about a 3D printer, and it fits perfectly in there. So we should be able to get it all aligned, and we can stab it in there perfectly fine. All right, guys, what we're working on next is a alignment pin for the transmission so it slides on. We're going to use these as slides, basically. And we cut off some bolts, and he's going to make them smooth and easy to slide up on. And that way we can slide the transmission up on the top 2 bolts and it'll slide hopefully right in, theoretically. So fingers crossed that works perfectly. All right, we got the clutch installed. Now we just got to put the transmission back on and then do everything we just did in reverse. Slidey pins installed. Got one up under here, you can't really see it. And then one right here. We're gonna pull all this wiring out of the way, pick the transmission up and slide it right on there. And theoretically, if all goes well, it should just slide right on in home. And then we can put the other bolts in and we'll take those studs out and then we'll put the proper ones in. All right, time has passed. We got the shifter cables plugged in. We got all the bolts back in. We got the axles in. We got the suspension all hooked back up. It's looking good. We got the slave cylinder back on. Oh, we got to get the one last thing. We got to get the shroud back on there. I forgot about the shroud. So easy enough. And yeah, I think that's the last underside thing we need to do is that shroud, and then we'll be able to lower it down and just finish up putting the air box back in, the distributor back on, all that jazz. So good times. Getting those shroud bolts started was a literal nightmare. It was horrible, but I just couldn't get them lined up. It was just frustrating as heck, but we got them on there and we're screwing them in now. And then also we had to get this mount on. I totally forgot about that in the last clip. So now we're done. We're finishing up literally as we speak. He's almost done. Any second now. Ah, yes. Underside of the vehicle completed. Now we're gonna do above side. And just like that, everything is all back together. We just gotta get some transmission fluid put in the transmission. We got some manual transmission fluid, Honda Genuine. And but I don't have a transfer pump, so I guess we're gonna have to go to AutoZone and acquire one of those so we can fill up the transmission back to its normal level. So we just got done filling up the transmission and we're gonna lower the car down. All right, guys, she's ready to drive with a new to me clutch. We're gonna go take it for a test drive, see how it turns out. So here in a moment, you'll see that happen. Guys, moment of truth. We're about to back it out with the new clutch. Let's see how it does. Oh yeah, she's working. Just gotta get over that hump. That's a tough hump to get over. There we go. Look at that, beautiful. Success. All right, guys, so we're about to take off with the new clutch installed. I've driven it already for quite a couple weeks. I'm just lazy with editing and I forgot to record this last part. So we're gonna go take it for a drive and you can see how it shifts. It is much, much, much better. I don't feel like the car engine's going to shake out of the vehicle every time I shift. So here, we'll drive this way. See this? Oh, I can take off without any issue. I can shift into other gears without issue. Great. Here we are taking off from a stop sign. And as you can see, so much smoother. No problemo. Shifts great. No slippage of the clutch. Still need to fix the exhaust. This exhaust isn't very good. A little vibraty. But I have a solution for that on the next video. Or maybe the video after. Depends on what I got going on. But yeah, drives so good, smooth. Tracks perfectly straight. Oh, so nice. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching Too Many Projects Garage. I'll see you next time.